Welcome back, everyone. Chris Terrell here with DFSR.com, as well as my Patreon. That's patreon.com/JagerBombs. What I want to do here today is go over a few things on the cheat sheet, a little bit of a tutorial. This week's sheet for the Open Championship is a little bit different. I had to adjust a few things with a lot of European Tour players, no course history. I've added tee time, so we're going to go over that real quick. If you want to get access to the sheet, head over to patreon.com/JagerBombs. For $10 a month, you can get access to one sport package, which also gives you access to our Discord, all the channels associated with the package that you choose. It's $20 a month if you want to go up to all sports. We have 13 sports that we cover right now. There's currently about 6 or 7 that are up and running right now. So get over and check that out. Let's jump over and look at the cheat sheet. All right. So I've added tee times over here on the left, as well as the wave. So I split them up, and they don't go off in holes 1 and 10 this week. They're all going off at hole 1 in groups of 3. So like me and Dane mentioned in our other video, the wind is going to probably be a little bit less in the mornings. That's coming from the heads greenskeeper, saying that it's going to be windy the whole time, but he said the least windy of the day is going to be in the morning. So if you're playing showdown, I definitely like using this tee time information to formulate, not specifically a early versus late tee times, but just to distinguish if you're maybe going between 1 or 2 players. Another strategy you could employ, a lot of people have talked about this, because the wind is so unpredictable. If you are playing tee time waves, that one of the best things that you can do, and I am going to actually open up the tee times. I've got them sorted by time here rather than over on the main side here. This is by DK pricing. So you come over to tee times and say you want to maybe do a wave. I would put guys that are kind of grouped all together within like let's say a 1 hour, 30 minutes to 60-minute window. What that's going to do is, even if there is a little bit of variance, if one group or another gets that little bit of separation in terms of a weather advantage, they're all going to be kind of grouped together, versus maybe a guy that's going off at 6:35 a.m., say like a Richard Bland, and then you're still mixing in early guys, but then you're in the 10:30, and now you're talking about like 4 hours difference. Well, there's a huge discrepancy in the weather in 4 hours. So I would maybe take like, what do you got here? Like maybe 5, 6, 7 tee times kind of within an hour, and try and maybe build a lineup that way if you want to play the weather game. So that's the way I'm looking at weather. And specifically, it's going to be for showdowns this week. I'm not really looking at distinguishing tee times right now. Me and Dane are going to talk about that in the live show tonight. So make sure to tune into that. We're going to look at weather a little bit more closely and see if there is any advantage. But again, with it being so unpredictable, my strategy, and I'm interested to hear what Dane's strategy is going to be, is maybe for showdown round 1 or showdown whatever round you're playing, any of the 4 rounds, is to, like I said, kind of pick that 30 to 60-minute window of tee times and maybe fill out a lineup that way, so that if there is a huge advantage for that one group within that hour or 2 hours, you're going to have a huge advantage. So moving on here, a couple other things on the sheet for this week. Everything else looks pretty much the same. Odds here, I've added the date. I have updated it just for reference. Sliding over, we have the Open Championship history. This is the last 10 Open Championships. If you want to see what courses each of those are at, you can go down to the Open History tab here, and at the top it's telling you which course it is. It's giving you the leaderboard and the score for the last 10 years in here as well. And 2011 was the last year it was played here at Royal St. George's. As you can see, Darren Clark won here. Only 4 players were under par. So you can check that out as well. If you want to look at the course statistics from that 2011 match, you can see every hole, how it played under par, eagles, birdies, pars, bogeys, double bogeys, that sort of thing. So a couple things that stand out. Par 4 scoring, I talked about this earlier in the week as well. 53% of all birdies, and there was 525 of them throughout the week in 2011 in the tough scoring conditions. 53% of them came on the 4s. There are more par 4s, so it's not unusual to see that number so high. But it just goes to show you that the 2 par 5s are obviously going to be scored on. Maybe not so much the 14th hole. The 7th hole is a little bit easier for sure. So that's where we're going to see that's where 19 of the 23 eagles came from, was on that 7th hole. On the 14th hole, not so much. But definitely par 4 scoring correlates a lot more. The guys are going to get on there. And then Dane also mentioned in chat this morning, looking at some of the quotes, that the rough is very, very long. I think Brooks said that it may be the longest he's seen in 5 years at an Open Championship, or maybe overall. I forget how that quote went, but either way. And then we talked about some guys that also mentioned, I think it was maybe Fleetwood that was mentioned, it's going to be firm and fast. So you, first of all, you get a course that's bumpy, where you fly ball in the middle of the fairway, takes a dart left or right, all of a sudden you're in the rough. That rough is extra tall, and then you add in firm and fast, and it's just hitting the fairways. I think is going to be huge. I posted some stats in the PGA channel looking at guys who are both high on fairways gained and strokes gained approach, kind of going over the last 24 rounds. So go and make sure to check that out. In my own personal model, so current form is here as well if you want to look at that. And for current form, any golfer under the country, which is D, column D here, anyone that is in blue, I have gone through European Tour form for those players and updated it. So all this form here for these guys in blue are going to be for the European Tour stats. Some of them are going to be a mix in there as well, so keep that in mind. But any of these European Tour regulars and pretty much anyone without stats over here are going to be the European Tour guys, and those are European Tour only guys. So keep that in mind. You can look at the raw stats here, and my stats on my sheet are 95% weighted on this current season, with 5% weighted on last season as well, just to get a little bit more longer term in my model. And then for shorter term, I use Fantasy National Golf Club. And then the orange section is just rankings of these stats in the green. What that allows us to do is create a customizable model. That's what these numbers are above. This is the weight on each one of these stats that I'm using in my stats model. And if you want to go and build your own stats model, your own overall model using the sheet, all you have to do, go up to File, create, make a copy, name it whatever you want, click OK. It's going to open another sheet, and it's going to have, you're going to have edit access to that sheet. So a couple things you can do if you're playing on FanDuel. Come over here, click in anywhere in column J, go up to data, sort Z to A, highest to lowest. Now you're sorted by FanDuel pricing. Or if you want to see who the leaders are in strokes gained approach on the sheet, that would be lowest to highest because we are in a ranking column. So as you can see, Colin Morikawa, Henley, Casey, Thomas, Bradley, Zalatoris. So one thing that you can definitely look at if you want to compare driving accuracy, just to make the sheet a little bit more user friendly, if you are looking at what I said there, strokes gained approach and fairways gained, take that driving accuracy, just hide these columns, put them side by side. Now you can compare side by side. So Colin Morikawa really, really stands out to me. First in strokes gained approach on the sheet, fourth in driving distance. You got Corey Connors, eighth and fifth. Not as much, but Keegan Bradley I wrote about in my DFSR article as well. And to check out that article, you can slide over to dfsr.com. And about halfway down the page, you will see the article pop up. These are the tools right here. If you want to go over and check them out as well, hit me up in Patreon chat for my patrons. Going into this event and all summer, we are giving away a free trial up until the end of August. So hit me up for details on that as well. So you can check out my article here, see today's picks. You can go in and you can check that out, see all my top picks. But that's some of the ways that I use the sheet to look at my statistics and my models. So creating your own copy of the sheet so that you can edit these customizable models is usually a good idea, because what I do is I create multiple models and then I kind of, open a brand new sheet, Google Sheet, and just run the rankings of those models side by side and really start just comparing guys that stand out in multiple models for me, whether I go in and go heavy on ball striking or heavy on around the green or throw some putting in or higher on par four, less on birdie or better, that sort of models, and just seeing who stands out in all of them, using the tools to their advantage. So then that's just everything in orange. There is just the stats model. This is the weighted stats rankings here. And then sliding over into the overall rankings, we have the stats model, which is just ranking everything that we just did with the stats model. Course history, which this week is Open Championship history. I've got 5% on that. Probably going to up that today. I think about into that. Then we got odds if you feel the odds to win is going to be something that you want in your model. And then we've got average finish last 5 and 10, and then we've got average DK points last 5 and 10 as well. So that's a little overview. And as you mix up all these numbers on these weighted, if you got any more questions, hit me up in chat. I'm going to have another video out a little bit later today showing you the DFSR tools and how I am going to use them. And then tonight, me and Dane are going to be going live as well, talking ownership, talking final plays, and getting you guys ready for the Open Championship. Let's get it.